Coming to you from MedStar Capitals Iceplex here in Arlington, Virginia, alongside Tarik El-Bashir. I'm John Walton. Welcome to this edition of the Rink Report. It is a game day live edition as the Capitals tonight taking on the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Quite a matchup. The Capitals have lost 2 straight, but they've also taken points in 15 of 16. You're pointing, you are atop the Eastern Conference, and you are 10 games removed now from the NHL trade deadline, all for the most part as well, except for, a few tweaks here and there. You want to win some more overtime games. You want to certainly show well against the Panthers and get back in the win column, but this team's going pretty well as we get into the month of February.
Yeah, absolutely. 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. It's important not to lose sight of the big picture. They are playing great. I know they've maybe stumbled a little bit the last couple of games. That said, I feel like these 2 games, Winnipeg and Florida, those are big measuring stick games for this Capitals team to make sure that what's happening here. I don't think there's anyone in the room that thinks that some of this is illusion, but to show the rest of the league that they're legit. They had that nice comeback against the Jets. They got a really, really offensively minded Florida team coming in tonight. The Capitals have been playing awesome defensively. We just had a chance to talk to Spencer Carberry about what makes Florida so dangerous, and one of those things is they throw everything and the kitchen sink at the net, and then they have a number of players who are just really good right down low around that blue paint. I'm thinking about Reinhart, thinking about Tkachuk, even Barkov, quick hands. So the key for the Capitals tonight is going to be keeping that area in front of Logan Thompson clean.
Yeah, scouting report on Florida in a moment, but the real big news today from Morning Skate is that Logan Thompson is going to get the start again. And when Spencer Carberry was asked about that, said it's a good opportunity to get him in. There's only 3 games before the break. All of that's true, but he's the hottest goalie in the NHL. Yep. You've got to get him more starts. And again, this is kind of like where, you look at where Charlie Lindgren is, it might be a little tough because you're going back to and you're kind of deviating from rotation. But this is what Charlie Lindgren did last year, too. He took the ball and he ran with it. You've got to play the hot hand sometimes, and that's what we're going to get tonight. Logan Thompson was going to go up against Florida.
Absolutely. I mean, this is another, like I said, a measuring stick game against an opponent that's playing really well, an opponent that's, going to potentially make some noise in the playoffs. You might even run across them. I mean, you want to have a good showing against this team. Logan has been so good throughout the year, but just recently, you feel like there's people in the media who are starting to talk about him as a potential Vezina Trophy winner.
Including me.
I've
been beating this drum for a while. Listen, he's a Vezina candidate for sure.
He's been unbelievable. Quality starts, goals saved above expected, goals against average, save percentage. Everything is top 3 or 4 in the league. And you look at his win-loss column, it's just silly. It's silly.
Yeah. 22 regulation losses.
Yeah, 2.
That's it. 1, 2. That's it. He gets the start tonight for the Capitals. Now, the Florida Panthers, they're the defending champs, and they're coming into town playing like it pretty much. They just swept a 3-game homestand. They've won 6 of their last 8. They're scoring a ton of goals. They are a different team, Tarik, and having seen them a little bit here over the last few weeks, and that they don't have the offensive firepower that they did as the champs last year. Brandon Montour's not here. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's not here. But those forwards, they're the same. And they're good. And you just mentioned some of them. This is a big test for the Capitals tonight against the defending champs that are coming in. They're like, oh, you know what? It's February. It's going to be our time of year. It's going to be a good test and a really good hockey game, you would think, here tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, there are a number of key matchups, but the big matchup is going to be keeping those core forwards who are so dangerous from getting to the inside and doing what they do in there. I mean, they have 8 players with 12 or more goals. Sounds a little like the Capitals. Doesn't it? But, Reinhart's got 31. I mean, you want to talk about a player who's just a pure goal scorer. Kachuk, Barkov, Verhaeghe, Bennett. I mean, they have so many dangerous players, and it's just going to be really important for the Capitals D. And the Capitals Ds have been on point all year, but they've really got to show up tonight.
Second game of 3 between the Capitals and the Panthers. Washington beat them 4-1 back on November 25th. First game of the Mentor Strip. Really good game for the Capitals that night. Florida's pretty well kicked it in ever since. Got a couple of guests coming up on the show today. John Carlson's going to join us. Ethan Frank will be here in a bit. And one of the things that we want to talk to Johnny about is this D-core as a whole. And a lot of guys or a lot of people in the media have talked about Jacob Chychrun, obviously.
Yeah.
John Carlson continues to roll along. He's been excellent. This group has been excellent. But for me, a guy that doesn't get enough headlines and should, Matt Roy has meant a lot to this team defensively, and He's a guy that he's always making the stop in the D zone. He's rarely out of position. And without question, the Capitals, a much better team for having brought him over from Los Angeles. We'll talk to Johnny about this in a little while. I love the way Matt Roy plays.
And absolutely, look at those numbers that are on screen right now. I mean, not only is he a very sturdy player in front of his own net, he gets the puck going in the other direction. You know, he is one of the best players on the team and even in the league at getting that breakout going. Outlet pass completions, he's first on the team. Stretch pass completions, whenever somebody has a breakaway, you look around and it's usually Matt Roy who delivered that puck through four different players. He's having an outstanding season. And the thing about a guy like Matt Roy is, you know, those defensive defensemen, they're at their best when you aren't noticing them. Correct. I mean, there are some times where I'm like, what's Matt Roy been up to? Oh, he's got 4 block shots and has done a really good job shutting down the other team's best forwards.
In a career-high 3 points against Winnipeg on Saturday night. Matt Roy going to lead the charge on the back end along with Carlson and Chychrun and the rest. A little while ago, we had a chance to catch up with John Carlson here. Big night for him coming up on Sunday as he's honored for 700 points in the National Hockey League. We talked to him about that and a whole lot more here on the show today.
I think so. I think it's obviously been a long and good career, I would say, but played with many great players, played on many great teams, and I think I don't like celebrating myself a whole lot, but it's cool for the Caps to honor me.
Yeah, I know you don't like talking about yourself, so I'll spare you.
Thank you, Tar. Appreciate that.
So you guys are second in the league in goals against. A decent improvement over last year. Obviously, the goaltending's played a big part in that. But what have you seen from a defenseman's point of view that's really working for you guys?
I mean, I think we're playing offense a little bit more, too. I think that kind of helps lighten the load a little bit on the defensemen. And I think, you know, the group of D we got out there right now are, you know, can play in many different situations. Can play against top lines. And I think that's more of a full group effort.
Yep.
I think that helps, and obviously I think we built a good foundation last year. I think we needed to be one of the best defensive teams to compete last year, and so that was a good kind of building block coming into this year. And with a little bit more offense, a little less time in our zone, I think it helps a lot.
You always have a positive spin on things. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
You've had a lot of different D partners over the years. You've had a lot of different guys you played with over the years as a top 6. You guys have had a pretty good year in assimilating a lot of different guys, whether it be Matt Roy coming in and Rasmus Sandin's role growing. It seems like you guys everybody brings something to the table that makes you guys one of the best D-corps in the league. Is this one of the best D-corps that you've had here? Because it seems like it could be.
Yeah, I think so. And just the depth and I feel like, kind of like I said before, I think everybody can kind of play in different scenarios, different situations, and be relied upon in those important minutes. So I think probably from a coach's standpoint, that's a good mix that you can have, and certainly throughout the games too. We play with a lot of different players. I think there's there's an ease of transition in terms of guys that are on the penalty kill and after the power play and things like that, where seamlessly we can kind of flip back and forth at will.
Got to ask you about Alex Ovechkin. I mean, 18 goals away. It feels, to me, as a guy who's covered him since his rookie year, you've been around for most of the years, like it feels different now. Like once you get under 20, what's the vibe like in the room right now?
No, I think we're all rooting for him, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly to your point, there were so many years that it seemed like it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Or not never going to happen, but just
it was far away.
It seemed so incredibly far away. Yeah. Now it definitely has that feel like, hey man, like this thing can get broken open any moment. So obviously immense history in front of him. We're all cheering for him, and it is kind of crazy. It seems like every goal is a bbig celebration because of that anticipation.
Yeah.
What has Jacob Chychrun brought beyond the shot? You played with him on the power play here for a while. Just an entirely different dimension to a lot of different things. I don't know that I've seen someone in my time here that brings exactly what he brings to the table.
No, I mean, absolutely. I think you can see just his abilities out there, whether it's defensively, whether it's jumping up in the rush or getting back, or his one-on-one game. he kind of brings most facets of the game really, really well, and he's a real treat to watch out there and play with, obviously, and is a big reason of our success this season, I think.
The big picture with this team, 30 games to go. I know the work isn't done, but how proud are you of what this team's accomplished to this point, given the fact that in the preseason, everyone outside of Washington was like, Washington, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now you guys are sitting down looking down everybody in the Eastern Conference to put together just an incredible, consistent game through 52 games here.
Yeah, and I think, kind of piggybacking on what I said about the defense in last year and that foundation that we built, I think that was important kind of coming into this season. But, yeah, incredibly proud of the guys. I think, I hate calling ourselves the underdogs because we're not underdogs. But I think guys wanted to prove something this year, and it's great to see it come to fruition. I think the guys that we've added all seem to fit perfectly, and happy for them too, coming from different places, wanting to have a fresh start, continue their careers wherever, each situation is different, but those are big things for guys, and it's been real fun getting, growing as a group together and competing on the ice.
It's been fun for us too.
Yeah,
sure has. Well, John, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for coming up and spending some time with us.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks,
appreciate it as always.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He's already a lock for the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Couple of more years at the productivity level he's at. He's got a real chance to make it to Toronto in the Hockey Hall of Fame. John Carlson, what a year he's had, and what a group this has been, Tarik, over the course of the season. And he's been still QB1 in the middle of this terrific decor that has Washington on top of the Eastern Conference.
How is he not on Team USA for the Four Nations? What are they doing?
There's a lot of things like that. How's Logan Thompson?
Yeah.
Hey, they got Sam Montembeault, though, so they're doing okay.
But I will say this, I know those guys would prefer to be there, but of all those top teams, selfishly,
I'm glad they're going to the beach.
Yeah, they can go to Aruba or Turks and Caicos or whatever, unwind,
go rest,
freshen up,
come back fresh, get ready to go and go until June.
It's going to make a difference.
Going to be a lot of good. Here's another thing that's going well for this team right now. Dylan Strome had gone a little bit quiet. He's a streaky guy. Sometimes he will go for a bit, but when he comes back, it's always amazing to me through 3 years here that when he goes, he goes. And right now, he's going again, no question.
Yeah, 3 goals in the last 4 games. I think putting Tom Wilson on his line kind of sparked things and kind of got things going a little bit there. But, one thing that Spencer Carberry is not shy about saying, the guy who makes this offense go is Dylan Strome. And when Dylan Strome is scoring and setting up and looking confident the way he has with the puck the last few games, this team is top to bottom.
Affect everybody else.
Absolutely. Top to bottom. Yes, top to bottom makes them really hard to beat.
Capitals are unbelievably going into play tonight against Florida, only 10 games away from the NHL trade deadline. March 7th, 3 o'clock is when it happens. Now, that may seem like it's off in the distance, but when you pick 4 nations in the middle of all of that, and by the time you come back, Capitals had that back-to-back at the end of February. They're in Pittsburgh. They're home against Edmonton. And then it's going to be pencils down time to decide what it is that you want to add to the mix to get ready for what you hope will be a run toward June. Now, the price of poker's already gone up around the Metropolitan Division, and we'll get to that. But as far as the Capitals are concerned, this is a pretty solid team. They have been blessed with good health so far. That generally doesn't stay the case for 82. You're going to have guys that fill in occasionally. You got McElrath and Alexeyev on the back end in reserve. But your view of things as we have incredibly just 10 games left until the trade deadline and the final stretch run.
Glad I'm not Chris Patrick or even Brian McClellan, because it's the age-old question when you have a team that's at the top of the standings that has chemistry. The guys like playing for each other. It's, do you want to risk bringing in a big-name, big personality player who could disrupt that chemistry? Chemistry is a funny thing. Sometimes teams have it, and it can go quickly if guys start to get sour about playing time or other things start to happen. I do feel like they're going to do something, and when I look at this roster, the Ds, like you said, they go 6 deep. They've been healthy, knock on wood, and they've got 2 in reserve. The goaltenders, they've worked really well together. The goalies don't really move at the deadline very much anyway. You look at the forward group, okay, I could see maybe the potential for bringing in a third-line center, maybe bulletproofing that bottom 6 on the wing. I mean, if, God forbid something were to happen to, a Taylor Radish or a Brandon Duhaime and they miss some games, I don't feel like they're deep enough right now at that position. Kind of like a third or fourth line winger that can come in and bang and crash and get to the dirty areas. Maybe that's something that they would look to do. But I'll tell you this, and I know you just teased it. When the teams around you are making moves, that makes the hair stand up on the back of Chris Patrick's neck. He's like, uh-oh.
It's called the Metropolitan Division Arms Race. Mikko Rantanen going from Colorado to Carolina. JT Miller already paying dividends for New York. The Rangers were nowhere, and now they're back and seemingly playing like they want to get into the top 8. And then you've got New Jersey that's really not going very well. They need sandpaper. The Devils are going to make moves. So of the teams that are involved in the mix, there are going to be other things that are happening outside this organization. It's a matter of finding what do you want to do to counter and maybe even anticipate what other teams are going to do and have, because you're probably going to see at least a couple of these if you've got a serious run in you.
Right, and you don't want to let another team's moves, dictate what you do at the deadline. That said, when the teams around you, the teams like you said, you're going to be competing with, did get better, they got deeper, they got more offense, you kind of have to answer a little bit.
Rantanen is scary.
And so I'm an aggressive person by nature. And
yes, I've seen you drive. Yes.
So that's messed up. When I think about this Capitals roster, and I think about where they're probably going to end up drafting. I mean, they're at the top of the standings. They're going to be drafting 27th, 28th. I mean, it's going to be late. Go for it, man. Like this could be your year again. This doesn't happen very often. If any franchise knows that, it's this franchise. When you have lightning in a bottle, strike.
I would back that up by saying this is very likely, possibly, Alex Ovechkin's last chance, too.
Best chance. And
you were retooling on the fly for the potential of doing this, and you are truly getting to the end of the line now. He's going to be 40 in September. So if there is one more chance to see what Alex can do with the cup stands, et cetera, you'd love to see that one more time. And I'm with you. I think that's probably the mentality that you have going into the deadline and getting ready for postseason play. We had a chance to talk with Ethan Frank a little bit. And
love that story.
This is a great story. And now that he is beyond the 10-game mark, which means he would have to go on waivers to go back to Hershey, and you don't really foresee that happening. So he's probably here for the year now.
Yep.
And a great story, a guy who not only was undrafted, but even had to come into pro hockey on an AHL deal. He wasn't even signed to an NHL deal despite foot speed that I don't know that I've ever seen. And when he turns it on, he's gone, and now certainly getting scouted for that. Really fun to see what this has been here over the last now 10, 11 games.
Absolutely. And your mind kind of races, no pun intended, when you think about that speed, and you wonder if giving him a few more minutes might pay even more dividends, because he is remarkably efficient. He does a lot in the little bit of time he gets. I feel like having played in the minors for a number of years, I think that helped him make this jump. Played in college for a number of years as well. He's a 26-year-old, so he's not coming up wide-eyed. And yeah, the NHL's a new beast for him, but he knows the tricks of the trade. He's been around pro hockey for a number of years now, and I think that's helped him kind of hit the ground running.
We had a chance to catch up with Ethan just a little while ago here at MedStar Capital's Iceplex as he gets ready to get onto the power play tonight against Florida. All right, happy to have Ethan Frank with us here on the set. And if you're watching the power play this evening, watch out for this guy. You and Alexei Protas inserted into the unit for the last game against Winnipeg, but never really got a chance to get out there very much. How much are you looking forward to having the chance to get a little power play time tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping to catch Florida off guard a little bit with how fast I'm coming down ice, and working to retrieve pucks and helping the guys out wherever I can.
From a mental standpoint, now that you've passed that threshold for waivers, are you able to kind of relax a little bit?
Yeah, somewhat. I still think that there's a lot of pressure on myself from
Always.
me. And, I think it's been good so far, and I'm just trying to go out there and play fast and hard every night.
Just generating the offense that you have. I think about the goal in Seattle. I think about the assist that you had on Lars' goal in your first game up here. Speed's a weapon. Like, it's fun watching you skate. How have you felt now, maybe after 10 games, of that comfort level of saying, hey, you know what, I can handle this up here?
Yeah, no, it's been really good so far. I felt like the first few games it was a little easier to catch guys off guard with the speed, and so I think there's been some pre-scouts now, and I'm just going to have to figure out how to beat guys a little more now.
So take me back a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, you see guys around you down in Hershey getting called up and you're not getting your number called. Like, who kept you believing that your moment was going to come someday?
I mean, a lot of the guys were really supportive, agent, family, friends, obviously. But I think at the end of the day, it was probably myself because, like, I can't control that. If Mikey or Miro or whoever gets called up, that's who gets called up. They needed a center. They called up Ribby earlier in the year, and I can't control it. So I just, try to worry about what I can control and hope for the best.
I was around you guys a lot in the last 2 springs and Calder Cups, and I'm curious the influence that Todd Nelson's had on you specifically, and the environment maybe even in a big picture in Hershey where winning is a standard and being able to play important hockey in June is not something that most guys get to do and get a chance to cut their teeth on a little bit. How much did that experience over the last 2 years, coaching staff, environment there, everything mean to you and getting you to this point now?
Yeah, I think it was a huge help. Being my first 2 years pro and winning back-to-back championships, I don't think anybody could have asked for anything more. And so I'm really grateful for that experience. And Nelly and the coaching staff down there does a great job of just getting you to be you and play your game and fit it into the system really well. So it's been a lot of fun.
To that point, down in Hershey, you played probably 18, 20, 21 minutes mostly. Up here, it's more like 10, 11, sometimes 12. How much of an adjustment has that been, and what's kind of helped you, get in sync? Because you clearly are able to produce with fewer minutes.
Yeah, no, it's been not a huge adjustment. Thankfully, the guys have been, easy to talk to and helping me out and, saying good job, nice shift, nice work, nice speed or whatever it may be. But I think it might help me recover more, so I'm able to skate faster and, have more effort on the ice each shift.
I know it has. You've been doing it for 10 games now, but playing on the same team with Alex Ovechkin, having grown up in a time where he was getting tons of goals and now you're in the same dressing room with him, is that feeling ever going to go away for you, or as he creeps up on 895 here and you might be there for it?
For me, no. I don't think it'll ever go away. He's still, every day he walks in with a smile on his face, and I'm still a little starstruck from it. So it's really cool to experience that day in and day out and just kind of see how he presents himself and, approaches every day. It's really cool.
I have a technical question for you, because someone who also is a fast hockey player was asking me, do you do anything different to your blades? Do you have a different profile? Do you like them sharpened a certain way?
Not that I know of. I just use the Blade Tech steel. Honestly, I don't know what hollow I get my skates sharpened at.
Just make them sharp.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Thanks,
as long as they're good to go. I don't really care for it. I'm not a huge picky guy when it comes to equipment and stuff like that. So, as long as I can, stay up and skate, the right way, I think I'll be okay.
Tell me about your stick.
There's really not a whole lot. It's one of the new CCM ones. It's got like a fat grip up on the handle for me and kind of narrows down to a square as the stick gets lower.
What flex?
80 flex right
80
now.
flex,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I used to use 87.
Tarek's a stick nerd. You'll have to give him a little bit of leeway.
Just watching you play and watching how fast that puck comes off, I figured you would have been like maybe a 77.
Yeah, no, I've tried that before, and it just kind of feels like a wet noodle. Yeah, it's hard to catch passes and make hard plays, I think.
Nice.
Well, Ethan, we know it's a game day. We appreciate you joining us up here. Spend a little time with us. Good luck tonight against Florida. Good luck on the power play tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ethan.
Yeah, power play. Keep an eye on it tonight. Ethan Frank and Alexei Protas alongside Jacob Chikrin as the quarterback. That's your power play 2 tonight. Connor McMichael on power play 1. And they didn't really get much of a chance in the Winnipeg team. They're going to get a little bit more of an opportunity at some point, you think, against the Florida team that you could use a special teams goal or two.
I do think they are going to get a little bit of run, and I'm curious to see what Alexei Protas is able to do in front of the net with that big body, because we've seen it even strength. He does a great job. He doesn't screen goalies off to the side waving his stick. He gets right in front of him. And Ethan Frank on the entries, I imagine he'll be the guy taking the drop pass with that speed. Like, he might need to slow down a little bit and wait for his teammates.
Tack on a shotgun and go right up the middle and see what comes up.
And, Ethan's been a prolific power play player down in Hershey. I mean, there's no reason – I know that's not the NHL, but there's no reason that can't translate like other parts of his game have translated to the NHL.
No, he can shoot the puck, and he more or less, especially in the playoffs last year for Hershey, kind of in the Ovechkin spot there. Don't think he's going to get that, but he's going to have other places to shoot from as this one goes tonight against Florida. Much like with World Juniors, one of the big tournaments that we enjoy watching through the course of the season on the amateur level is the Bean Pod in Boston, when 4 Boston schools get together, and it ends up being a BU-BC Invitational, more or less. Sometimes, although Northeastern and Harvard might have something to say about that, this time they won't. It'll be BC and BU for the Bean Pod Championship, and much like World Juniors, the Capitals are all over it with their prospects here.
Yeah, lots of prospects there. And, of course, Ryan Leonard's the guy we've always got our eyes on. And in the semifinal win for BC last night, he had a goal and assist. But you know who's really starting to make some noise? Cole Hudson.
Love this.
For BU.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. He looks just like Lane. He basically replaced his brother on the BU power play. And look at some of the goals that this guy is scoring. I mean, he can dangle. He's got a great shot. Look at this. I mean, like, that defenseman's still looking for where Cole is. So yeah, it's going to be a great final next Monday. Here we go on the replay. Look at those hands. Look at whoop. Where'd I go? Yeah, right over your shoulder. Unreal. I mean, it looks a lot like his brother.
Related to the conversation you and I had about the trade deadline, the one thing that we neglected to mention is the Capitals go through the calculus of figuring out what they want and what they may go out and get. Is there any way Ryan Leonard is not on this team on the third line for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Because I think he is. I think he's going to be here. What BC has done, I think he's going to do what Matthew Nyes did coming out of Minnesota 2 years ago for Toronto, and he's going to be there, and he's going to provide one heck of a spark for this team. On the third line, the one place that the Capitals have struggled to find offense really from the jump this season, I think he's going to be a part of that.
Let me give it some thought. No. He will be on the team. Yeah, there is no chance.
Yes.
And, you know, a player like him has a little bit of leverage coming out, too, right? He hasn't signed yet. You know, he can go, hey, guys, you know, I'd like to play. I mean, you know. You can
show me that green salad of salvation. Yes.
You can get some guarantees, and not that he needs it. I mean, I feel like he is one of the best players in the world who's not in the National Hockey League right now. You know, with that energy, with that shot, with that speed, he's going to be coming off of, you know, probably a long run with BC, which has been the best team in Division I, start to finish, right? I mean, he's going to have a lot of confidence, won another gold medal with the World Junior team. He's going to be a lot of fun to cover. I mean, you know what? I think everyone kind of wishes that TJ Oshie were healthy and in the lineup. I feel like Ryan Leonard's going to be the next TJ Oshie for this team.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he seems to have those leadership traits. He kind of has that kind of swashbuckling
snarl
too. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, you remember the kiss he blew to the Swedish fans when they were playing in their building 2 years ago in the World Juniors? He's confident in his own abilities.
Bring it in a guy that can score, that is tough, and 31 other teams aren't going to like. I think I'm down with that concept. We'll see what happens when we get later in the season. Last thought about tonight. Caps taking on Florida. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Look for him tonight. A lot of matchups with Alexander Barkov against their top teams. Yep. And the design is that if you've got a D-zone draw that you're able to win and then produce offense off of. We've talked about this a lot. We've seen Dubois deployed a lot against the other team's best players. I'm thinking of Austin Matthews. I'm thinking about anybody with the Toronto Maple Leafs when the Caps went in and won 2 games there. Those are the kind of matchups. That's what makes PLD so valuable. Oh, yeah, he's scoring a bunch now, too.
And now he's scoring goals.
Yeah, and now he's getting that offense going, too.
Yeah, his two-way game has been really eye-opening to me. I can't say that I paid a whole lot of attention to PLD before he got here, and now it's like, man, he is the son of a coach. He is in the right spot. His stick is in the right lane. He's always very predictable. His teammates know where he's going to be, and he's hard to play against. I mean, he is a big body, and he uses that body. Now, he's not a big hitter like Tom Wilson, but he knows how to use that leverage and that size. And for my money, I think he might be a little bigger than Tom Wilson. And the fact that he's now starting to add in that offense, that goal scoring that we always knew was there, to that defensive prowess, watch out.
Yeah, on pace for somewhere in the vicinity of, who knows, 75, 80 points before
Not
it's
so
all
bad.
over, and pretty good when you're playing at both ends of the ice as well. So the Capitals have Florida tonight. It's going to be a road trip that they take on the Flyers in Philadelphia. Second and final time we'll go to Philly this year. That's coming up on Thursday, and then the final game before the Four Nations break. Coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. We can say Super Bowl, right? Do we pay for those rights?
No,
big game.
but do it
How
anyway.
about big game? We'll go big game. Utah is going to be in. A look at the Utah Hockey Club. Maybe we can talk about what name they're going to be next year. They are narrowing it down. We got the Utah HC coming in here
Outlaws,
for 12:30
right? It's got to be
Sunday.
Outlaws.
I kind of like Mammoth.
The Mammoth is stupid.
I
did like the logo.
The logo was amazing. Utah
gotta be the
will
Outlaws.
be here on Sunday. But first things first, trying to take down the champs here this evening. It's the Capitals and the Florida Panthers. You can see it tonight with Joe Beninati and Alan May on Monumental. The radio side, we got you covered on 106.7 The Fan here in D.C. And looking very much to seeing the Capitals get into the win column and break this 2-game losing streak.
I think it happens.
I think it does too. We'll see. Thanks for joining us here at MedStar Capital's Iceplex today for this edition of the Rink Report.